Hello guys. Welcome to Tutor Sisters channel. Please subscribe to our channel to help us grow.
For today's video, we are going to talk about the literal comprehension, interpretation, critical thinking, and assimilation of the text. Burden of Skepticism, written by Carl Sagan. Now, let us proceed to the literal comprehension. Skepticism is nothing very esoteric, as we encounter it every day. Even at the time of buying a used car, we are skeptical of the small deceptions that leads us to kick the tires, open the doors, or even look under the hood, although we don't know what actually is supposed to be there. This is for a good reason, as untrammeled credulity may cause us to pay some price later. The real tragedy is that we are skeptic in some minor things, but are negligible towards topics that require sincere attention. The spiritualists and channelers who claim to have a connection with the dead are actually taking advantages of our vulnerabilities. Moreover, the case of extraterrestrial intelligence and 35,000-year-old Ramtha do not have any authenticity. Skepticism is dangerous, but that is the essence of it. Perhaps the reason it is not taught in schools is because the students would start asking awkward questions about economic, social, political, or religious institutions, and it will threaten the position of those in charge. Another burden of skepticism is that we start making fun of people who do not understand things like we do. All in all, there should be an exquisite balance between skeptical scrutiny as well as creativity. If we are only skeptical, no ideas make through us, and we never learn anything new, becoming a crotchety. In the similar manner, being gullible also prevents us from distinguishing the useful ideas from the worthless ones. Science has always been to mix these modes. Even though they come to a concluded idea after a long filtration, they still accept any creative criticisms. Sadly, there are no such practices in religion or politics. Now, moving on to the interpretation, the text may be trying to highlight the significance of creative along with critical way of thinking. The writer tries to convince readers that being skeptic is also necessary in critical situations, like while buying health products, but at the same time, doubting in everything leads us no gain. It also asserts that we should tend to balance both our skeptic scrutiny and creative thoughts. As mentioned in the text, scientists are ready to believe their own experiments being false if any logic invades their research. However, in case of religion and politics, we often find people reluctant to change their ideologies no matter what. That is the reason why science is progressing as they adopt new theories and other ideas based on real-life situations that, in one way or the other, emerges in virtue of skepticism. Moreover, through Henry Poincare's remarks, the text may be trying to hint at our attempts to conceal the truth, because we find it cruel and difficult to cope with. In addition to it, the text conveys the message that the only way to be truly successful is by becoming skeptic, but also welcoming new ideas and thoughts. Now, moving on to the critical thinking, Burden of Skepticism is an interesting essay that succeeds to convince the readers about the necessity of both skeptic scrutiny and implementation of creative thoughts in our life. The essayist very well points out the fact that people are skeptical about buying a new car or new products despite their lack of awareness or knowledge in such matter. The essayist seems to mention that there is a lack of skepticism when it comes to believing in political ideologies and religious followings. But as a critical thinker, this remark doesn't seem very convincing. Nowadays, people are getting out of superstitious thoughts and think twice before following blind beliefs. Moreover, political ideologies are not always aimlessly embraced. If they had been so, Nepal would have always been ruled by the same political party. Furthermore, we cannot generalize that everybody is credulous in a particular subject matter like politics, because some people are clearly not. In my opinion, skepticism and gullibility more depends on individuals' understanding and perception rather than a specific subject matter. The essayist seems to be trying to tell us not to be fooled by commercial advertisements. I agree this to some extent, but are all advertisements always deceptive rather than informative? He sarcastically mocks general people for not being skeptic while buying medicines. However, how can people from other backgrounds know about medical science? Is it really possible to know about the ingredients to determine which medicine to take and which not to take? Likewise, for a person suffering from AIDS or any other severe disease, any medicine is like a boon. How reasonable is it to expect cynicism from them? Nevertheless, I admire the way the writer tends to present the reality of our society in respect to channeling, reincarnation, extraterrestrial intelligence, and so much more. His logical questioning to these subject matters is convincing to the readers. Now, moving on to the assimilation, after going through this piece of text, I got the insight that we should perfectly balance our creative and critical thoughts. This made me aware that gullibility is not a solution to any problem, but it makes us ignorant towards them. The text reminds me of an incident in my neighborhood where a man was severely ill and was taken to the hospital. The doctors told his family that he had a problem in his stomach and was recovering. The doctor did not allow the family to meet him and convinced them to continue to pay the bills of the ventilator. The family stayed hopeful for his life and blindly believed the doctors. After a month, few people were skeptic as they were not allowed to see the patient. Later, it was known that the hospital was only deceiving them for money and the patient had already died the day he was taken to the hospital. This incident and the reality based thoughts of Carl Sagan convinced me that being skeptic is also necessary in critical situations. Thank you.
If you liked this video, please share it with your friends. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.